and to try to even out some of the stiffness in my wrist. But I mean, this is gonna forever be my arm. So I just wanted y'all to see it as it is right now, 3 years later. And
there is a James Jordan in breakout room number 1. Could someone go and tell him to remove himself from that room, please?
I'll go, Judge.
Thank you. We're going to go back on the record in 2019 CR 8157A. Could I have parties announced for the record, please?
Tom Nisbet for the state.
Your Honor, Mark Braswell for the defense with my client, Victor Fernandez, who is in person in court.
All right, the court had made its ruling before the break, and both parties asked that I hear new evidence. And there was a request for me to withdraw or give a new trial as it relates to sentencing, and the court agreed to do that and ordered that. So there's new information. Is that correct?
Yes, Judge. And with the court's leave, and obviously I have defense's permission to just make a small proffer, despite this being a silent plea. It is the position of the parties and our proffer to the court that Ms. Skripka would like the court to give the defendant a maximum supervision term on deferred adjudication to accommodate his aviation licensure, as well as the opportunity to pay back the restitution to Miss Amber Skripka and her family for everything that they've lost through this exchange. And so she expressed her gratitude to the court for reading her letter, for taking it so sternly, and for reacting the way the court did. And she would just like to maybe soften our position as the state just a little bit in making that request to the court.
All right, defense.
Your Honor, we have no objections to that recommendation.
All right, Mr. Fernandez.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, if you're tested today for drugs, what are the results going to be?
Negative, Your Honor.
Have you ever used illegal substances?
When I was a teenager, Your Honor.
And what was that?
Some marijuana, and I tried, I think, some acid. Something else I tried. What was it?
All right, is there anything else you wish to say, Mr. Braswell?
Your Honor, I would just ask the court to please consider the state's comments. I mean, he's speaking for all of us. We've conferred over the lunch hour, and I also had an opportunity to speak with Ms. Skripka, and it was very productive, and we want her to be made whole.
Mr. Fernandez, the court was strongly and wanted and thought that this case deserved a prison sentence. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
One of the main reasons why you're not going to prison is because the complainant in this case, Amber Skripka, has shown you mercy by asking the court to give you deferred adjudication. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you really need to remember that. You are too old to be racing. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
So are you still driving?
I drive, I do a handyman job right now.
No, my question is, are you still driving?
Yes, I'm driving.
State defense, how are we addressing this issue? Is there any concerns with his driving?
I mean, insofar as he has to earn a living and continue to comply with Texas Transportation Code and, right-of-way safety driving provisions, it's almost a necessity. And I guess the state would still consider it. Obviously, you don't even have to make a probation condition that he should comply with safe driving. It's kind of in and of itself. It's contained as part of his supervision. So I guess with the court's admonitions to the defendant, it's carried with his probation that he had better be a good driver out on the road, or there are very, very serious consequences with an orange jumpsuit at the end of it.
Mr. Fernandez, do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
All right, anything else from either party?
None from the state.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. 10 years deferred adjudication. There is to be restitution to Amber Skripka in two amounts, $10,185.88 and $238,538.15. With regards to the restitution, if something happens through insurance or with attorneys on the civil side, the court can always revisit that because no one's going to get paid double. Taking consideration 2019 CR 8155B, 2019 CR 8156B, 2019 CR 8158B, 2019 CR 8159B. There's to be regular Zoom reporting or in-person reporting if you don't have access to Zoom. There's to be random UAs, or you can do a patch. There's to be proof of employment within 15 days. And Mr. Fernandez, there's to be no drinking of alcohol while you're on probation, even at your own home. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I hope you realize that a number of people could be dead right now because of your actions. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Rebecca, is there anything else that Mr. Fernandez needs to be successful?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Fernandez, I'm going to ask you what I asked everyone that is placed on probation in this court. Is there anything else that you need in order to be successful on this probation?
No, Your Honor, I will be successful.
All right, I'm going to show you a document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you electronically sign it?
Yes, I did.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, with that, we will close the record. State, is there any victim impact?
Yes, Judge, there is.
And who would that be?
Amber is going to make a statement, and then I think we were going to discuss whether her grandfather would make a short statement as well.
All right, Mr. Fernandez. In the 187 District Court, I require that everyone treat everyone with respect. It doesn't matter who you are. You understand?
Yes.
So my understanding is Ms. Skripka has a victim impact statement. Hear what she's saying, internalize it. Ms. Skripka? I'm sorry, we can't hear you, Ms. Skripka.
Can
Amber,
you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, I apologize. I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as I can.
No rush.
Yeah.
Okay, thank y'all so much. Dear Mr. Fernandez, my family and I have been through inexplicable pain due to your actions. I honestly don't even know where to begin. I imagine the best way to begin is from the very beginning. It was April 25th, 2018. I was due to be at work for my usual shift at the University of Texas at San Antonio. Department of Public Safety for my usual shift at 8 a.m. I was almost to work when the incident occurred. It happened out of nowhere. I never even saw it coming. One moment I was in my car listening to my radio. I apologize. And in the next instance, I remember just closing my eyes and hearing a very loud sound. And I was squeezing my eyes so tight. It felt like I was spinning around in a Ferris wheel that was going super fast. I just remember hearing so much scream. As soon as my vehicle stopped spinning, I opened my eyes and I just remember everyone about me screaming. I remember knowing that I must have been involved in some sort of accident, but I had no idea how bad it was or what had actually happened. I heard everyone screaming at the intersection, and while I was still trying to figure out what had actually happened, I remember a male walking up to my window in the vehicle to ask if I was okay. As soon as he looked into my vehicle, he screamed out to the crowd that we need EMS. He looked down at my arm, and when he looked down at my arm when he was saying that, so I looked down, and that's the first time I noticed that something was wrong. I saw blood everywhere, and I remember seeing some yellow, what looked like to be fat coming out of my wrist area. I immediately went into a panic, and I started to have an immense fear for some reason that someone was going to try to hit me again from behind. So I tried to get out of the car. I remember the male that came to help me was telling me to stay still as possible and to not move. But I couldn't. I had to get out of the car. So I unbuckled. I opened the door and I got out of the vehicle. I remember as soon as I got out, I turned around and I saw the ambulance, thank God, was already pulling up to the scene. I remember holding my ring finger and my pinky finger in my hand and trying to squeeze it to see if I could feel it. And for a brief second, I was relieved to know that I still had feeling in my hand. At that point, I still hadn't had any pain. I was still in shock. The EMS responders immediately got me into the back of the ambulance and started taking my vitals and doing what they needed to do to keep me as safe as possible. I remember there was a super sweet lady that was standing with the ambulance doors were open, and she was standing looking at me, asking me if I needed anything for my vehicle. I said no at first, but she was like, do you want your phone? And I was like, oh my God, yes, I have to tell my mother what has happened. So she went to the car to try to get my phone for me. And I know as soon as the first responders got my phone and started calling my mom, I heard my mom's voice. And I don't know why, but right then it all started hitting me. The pain, it was immense pain right away. And I remember just screaming to the poor first responders, like, I need pain medicine. I need pain medicine. And the next thing I remember, like, I must have passed out, because the next thing I remember, I was at the hospital ready, and everybody was standing around me taking pictures of me. And my mom was already on the phone by my bedside. And to the right of me, there was a lot of detectives from my work. They were already there because I was working for the police department at the time, so they had heard what had happened. And they actually, after talking to them afterwards, one of the dispatchers, they had got the call from SAPD that it was a fatality accident. And when they ran my license plate, they knew it was me, and everybody thought I had died. So I remember talking to them afterwards, and they were so happy that when they got to the hospital, they knew that I was actually alive, and they were in super shock that I was still alive. So after I woke up at the hospital, I remember the nurse cutting off my pants and taking a lot of pictures. And then I must have gotten wheeled into surgery, because the next thing I remember, I was in the hospital room in the ICU, and all my family was there, and they started telling me exactly what had happened and where I was, and a detective was there to explain to me what they thought had happened. As a result of this incident, I had 15 surgeries on my arm, and I still need at least one more, and I have a follow-up next month on the 20th to see when I can get that done. The first major surgery was the first day I was there at the hospital. They had to put my veins and arteries back together to try and keep the blood flowing to my hand so I wouldn't lose it. And they took out all the skin that was dying or dead. They also set my bone, or what was left of it, they set it in one place with metal screws and plates. I didn't even know until about a year after my incident, when I was at the hospital for a follow-up, one of the doctors had told me that they got the call to come in that day and amputate my arm. I'm so grateful. Even though I was in a very unlucky situation, I was so blessed that Dr. Colmack and Dr. Carrier were there at the hospital that day because they saw how young I was and they didn't think it was going to work, but they tried to do an experimental procedure and it ended up working. And that's why I have my arm today, because they took the extra time and effort to try this procedure on me.
Miss Script, just
Yes.
slow down a little bit.
Okay.
But I want you to know that the court understands your pain, and the court reviewed your victim impact letter. And I know that that letter has been shared by defense to Mr. Fernandez.
Okay. I didn't know they had read the whole thing already.
No, they read the whole thing. I make sure that the state, the defense, and I also make sure that the defense have their client read the entire the victim impact and the entire PSI report with their client. So Mr. Fernandez has, I assure you, been given that by his attorney to read.
Yes.
Okay.
I appreciate you so much for coming in.
Yeah, I appreciate it. If I could I just wanted to add a couple things that weren't in my initial letter that y'all read.
Sure.
I just wanted y'all to see that I forgot to put it in my letter, but everyone at my work was so supportive of me. And it's because of them and my family that I'm actually here with y'all today, because I feel like mentally it was so taxing on me. And I remember when I first got back to work after being out for almost a month and a half, everybody at work had, I don't know if you can see it, but they made up these little Amber Strong bracelets for me. And everybody at work was wearing them, and they were trying to raise some money to help me pay for my bills. It was just so sweet. And also, I know y'all, I did send pictures, but this is updated after all the surgeries. My next surgery is going to be to try to fix this, like the unevenness of it, and to try to even out some of the stiffness in my wrist. But I mean, this is going to forever be my arm. So I just wanted y'all to see it as it is right now, 3 years later. And I do have a lot more victims impact statement, but if y'all have already read it, I don't want to tie up the court's time anymore.
Well, Ms. Scripta, let me just tell you, you never tie up the court's time. And I just want to let you know that everyone here is very sympathetic and empathetic to what you've been through. And I appreciate your coming in to tell us your story and what happened, okay?
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
There going to be another statement, State?
Amber, does your grandfather want to make a statement?
I believe he's on and he would like to speak. And I do have a lot of family that would love to speak to, Judge, but I know that if you don't have time, I understand that's not easy to allow.
Okay. Who is the grandfather? What is his name?
It's Dr. Stephen Schenker.
All right, I think I see him here. All right, Mr. Shankner, could you please unmute yourself for me? Just 1 second, I can't hear you. Do you see where it's popping up asking you to unmute yourself?
No.
All right.
Yes, this is Dr. Stephen Schenker. Judge, I'm very appreciative of your efforts in this case and the help we have received. Amber is my granddaughter by marriage. I'm a professor of medicine and have been practicing medicine since 65 years ago. I was chief of GI at the medical school here, and I was very, very close to Amber when these procedures were being done. 15 difficult surgical procedures. There is no compass in medicine for how to proceed. And I'm proud of my colleagues for being able to restore her function the way they have. She will never be quite the same, but she has done very well considering the injury that happened to her. And I'm grateful to you, ma'am, for taking care of this problem for us. I think that she has already been awarded a merit of courage by her colleagues at the Department of Police. And I remember seeing the head of police department PSA crying as he gave her the award. The whole group stood up and cheered to give her a recognition for her courage. So we felt as a family that we owe you a great deal of thanks for the proceedings here, and we hope that Amber will do well.
All right, thank you so much, and thank you so much for coming. It's greatly appreciated that you give us insight into Amber, and it's a testament to the people at her job that they were there for her as well. So I appreciate you all coming. Mr. Fernandez will, as I said, be supervised by the court. So we're going to make sure that he is doing everything that he's supposed to be doing. He's been given a chance, Ms. Skripka, based upon your mercy upon him, okay? So with that, I'm going to
Thank
send.
you, Your Honor.
Oh, you're
I
welcome.
appreciate it so much.
Oh, you're welcome, and take care of yourself, okay?
Thank
All right.
you. You
You're
also.
welcome. So courtroom, I'm going to send you to a breakout room so that probation can give him what he needs to do to be successful on probation. So courtroom, if you'll go to breakout room number 1, and probation, if you'll go to breakout room number 1 to go over conditions with him.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Braswell, you can
Yes,
go to
ma'am.
breakout room number 1, and once the conditions are gone, you're excused. You won't have to come back to the main room.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. All right, and I believe Dan Rodriguez, you're here with Mr. Salazar.
I have Salazar and Mr. Riley Hood.
All right, what is happening with Mr.
I
Salazar?
abbreviated. what
We
I said.
had I filled out plea paperwork, but Mr. Salazar still hasn't signed any plea paperwork. And I also have filed a motion to reinstate his bonds.
All right, Mr. Salazar, I'm going to send you to breakout room number 2 with your attorney so that the paperwork can be completed. Ed Bartholomew. Ed Bartholomew.
Here, Judge. Sorry.
Hi, I'm going to send you to a breakout room with Norma Ferguson so she can let you know what's going on.
She called me,
Norma?
Your Honor. I do know. I have photographs. He is in the hospital and he did have a stroke. So his wife would like to recall the warrant.
All right, so this is what I'm going to do. Ed, I'm going to send you to breakout room number 3. Is your client with criminal trial division or family violence?
Criminal trial, I believe, Judge.
All right, could somebody from criminal trial division meet Ed
Ruben
Bartholomew?
Hernandez.
Pardon?
Ruben Hernandez.
All right, it's Ruben Hernandez. If someone from criminal trial division could go to breakout room number 3 with Ed. All right, and then Christopher Donaldson, who's the attorney for him? What is happening with Mr. Donaldson?
Judge, that's me, Your Honor. If I could, I don't know if Tom's available to go to a breakout room or not.
To do paperwork?
Okay, I guess he's not available. Just need to tell him something.
All right, I sent you to breakout room number 4.
All right.
And then Brent Coffey, are your witnesses here?
Good afternoon, Judge. First, no, my client will not be attending court this afternoon for this contested MTR.
Why will he not be attending? Did he not like the invitation? I mean, did he want tea and crumpets?
He informed me this morning that he's come down with COVID. I have no documentation or anything for that, but he will not be appearing in court this afternoon.
All right, because I always wonder, what type of service, Brenna, I'm from the South. I mean, we can send out some engraved invitations. All right.
Judge, I've prepared for this case. I know I've been on it for several months, this MTR. I'm prepared to cross-examine any witnesses the state has, but obviously my client is not present in court.
No, I appreciate that. We're going to go on the record very briefly. Courtroom, Deputy Mejia, are you available briefly?
Yes, ma'am.
Please,
All right. The court is calling 2017 CR 4615 and 2021 CR 0832, State of Texas versus Juan Carlos Castañeda. Could I have parties announced for the record, please, for the state?
Jordan Brown for the state.
For the defense?
Brent Coffey.
All right, this case was originally, let me go through the history. This case was set on January 6th for a contested motion to revoke. Then it was reset for January 27th. At that time, there was an agreed continuance, and it's recalled for February 24th, 2021, I'm sorry. Then it was recalled for a contested hearing on March 17th. And now we're here on March 24th for a contested hearing. Deputy Mejia, has there been a Juan Castañeda in the courtroom at 1:30 this afternoon?
No, he has not.
And for the record, it is now 2:30 p.m. and there's not a Juan Castañeda on the Zoom screen. Defense, have you had any contact with your client?
Yes, I have.
Yes, and why is your client not present?
I've had contact with him as late as this morning, or as most recent as this morning. He will not be appearing in court today. He informed me that he has come down with COVID. I've received no documentation regarding that, but he will not be appearing today.
All right, state.
Judge, state would request that the court issue a warrant for the defendant's arrest and forfeit his bond. Obviously, no objection if the court wants to reconsider that with proof of COVID. But at this time, we're requesting the warrant and the bond forfeiture.
All right, I'll grant the state's motion and I'll remand him without bond in each case. Counsel, if you're able to receive documentation from your client of any type of medical issues that precluded him from being available for this hearing today, I will, of course, reconsider.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. With that, we'll close the hearing on that case.
Your Honor,
Yes.
on Mr. Hernandez, they're agreeing to reinstate his bond 217 CR 2957.
All right, Norma, if you can have them pull the B page for that and give me the file on Ed Bartholome's client.
Yes, ma'am.
Morning.
All right.
Good afternoon, Norma.
Judge, can you assign Lenny to a breakout room? Just signed in. I think that's one of my witnesses.
Lenny, if you'll go to breakout room number 3, please. All right, Ross Rodriguez on Mr. Donaldson.
Judge, could we go to a breakout room real quick? I've already spoken with Tom. I just need to let the court know something.
Oh, okay. Let me see. If you'll go back to breakout room number 4, I'll meet you there with the state.
Thank you, Judge.
Sure. Mr. DeWiggins?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, who are you here for?
George Gutierrez. He said he was in the waiting room.
I'm waiting for someone to be on the screen. Mr. Gutierrez, I don't see him.
I don't know. Is that him on the Alcatel axle?
I'm not sure. Just give me one moment.
Okay.
Are you Mr. Gutierrez? All right, just give me a moment, Mr. DeWiggins.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so here's my question. I've had a chance to talk with the state, and I've talked with your defense attorney in the breakout room.
Yes, ma'am.
So are you accepting this offer on this possession less than a gram case or not?
Well, that's what I talked to the investigating officer.
Here's the thing. I gave you time to talk to whomever you needed to talk to. That's why I was recalled today.
Right. And that's what I did. I had spoken to the investigating officer and he said.
No. You said you wanted to speak to your mom.
Yes, I did. I did speak to my mom.
So that's where we are. So either you want to accept the offer or you don't want to accept the offer.
Okay, but I don't have a chance to work the cases off.
Excuse me. I don't think you want to be saying that on YouTube. We are live on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Which means that the entire public will be hearing this. So
Okay.
what I have before me, what you're charged with in Bexar County, unless the state has a different view, you're charged with possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, less than 1 gram. That's a state jail felony. The The range of punishment is anywhere from 180 days up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine.
Yes,
My
ma'am.
understanding is that an offer has been extended. That offer was extended yesterday.
Right.
You said you wanted to talk to your stepfather who's going through chemo and
Yes.
your mom.
Yes.
And I asked you how old you were, and you told me.
Yes.
And I told you, as I've told everybody, you're old enough that you can make this decision on your own, but I still gave you a chance to speak with them. So you have spoken with them. So either you're accepting the state's offer or you're not.
I guess
So
I am.
if you're not accepting the offer, then it'll be going to jury trial and the court will not accept any plea bargain agreements.
Okay.
Do you need to speak with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
That's not you, Mr. Alcantel. Mr. Jonathan, do you
Sorry,
need to
I'm
speak
sorry.
with your attorney?
Yes.
All right, I will send you to breakout room number 4. Mr. Rodriguez, can you go back to number 4?
Me, Your Honor?
Ross Rodriguez.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Dan.
I'm trying to do the plea paperwork for Mr. Salazar, but his computer or whatever, he's not allowed to share the screen.
All right, he should be allowed to share now. If not, just let Norma know, and then the deputy will be made co-host and he can share it.
Okay.
All right. Trey Duncan and John Kuntz.
Hello, Judge.
Hi, have you had a chance to speak with the state with regards to the alleged violations?
Judge, first thing this morning, you put me in a breakout room that I was in for an hour and no one came in, and then I had to jump on another one, so I apologize. But Tom Nesbitt and I texted early this morning, well, during docket earlier, and I don't believe he can agree to anything.
Okay.
I see him shaking his head.
Okay. So we will take up Mr. Duncan.